Welcome back. I'm Randy Bueller, joined for the last match by the great one, Bob Maher. Thanks for putting on a show. The Belcher deck was cool.
It was a lot of fun to play. Like, all the matches were close.
Yeah.
I can't count the number of times I was, a mana short or an untap here, or, Brian Kelly O-ringing my mana source.
Right.
Me
The Hercles
misordering a
into
pre.
Lavinia.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to bring
Well,
back bad memories with the Hercles into Lavinia game. That one was ugly.
well, yeah, and of course, because I was on the draw, I had cards in my deck to bounce Lavinia, but on the play, I didn't.
Ah, that's
Like,
reasonable.
when
Yeah,
Lavinia came out, that was it. It was a wrap.
it's definitely. I mean, I don't think it's a pure glass cannon. I think you've got enough permission, and like it's surprising how often the deck can actually win. A 3 or 4 turn interactive game, but it's kind of glass cannon. A lot of times you're just like, yes, if they resolve Lavinia from being on the draw, fine, they just win. So I think 4-4 on games and 1-2 on matches is probably right around the expectation for a deck like that. It's like almost.
Yeah.
The 4-4 on games part makes you think, oh, I could have been a contender. But then it always turns out you're like 1-2 somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's been my experience with the deck. You come up and so many of the mulligan draws just look awful, but I don't know. It's fun. It was definitely fun to watch. And some of the decisions are actually really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even as I was sitting there, because I don't have a lot of familiarity with the deck, if I would have realized how bad Chain of Vapor is in that situation, I don't know if I would have untapped with Tezzeret. But like, I'm looking at the board and I'm like, oh no, I can untap. I've got this chain if he does something crazy. And then during his turn, I'm like, wait, I can't chain anything. They'll just sacrifice a land and bounce Tezzeret, and I can't win.
I still think the untap line was correct there, just because he has less outs to it, right? You're like, here's 20 damage. If you start fast bonding, I only need to get through for 15. Like, you attacked through Merit Lage and killed him. I like the untap line there a lot. I did exactly the same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, and he gets to have Chain Up, but I think Chain Up isn't that exciting. You get to replay the Tezzeret, but then they replayed it or whatever.
But it's nice because it poses a threat that is harder to answer, which means they have to lean on their Bazaar a little harder. Like, I watched while he was bazaring, he discarded a Stony Silence.
Right.
Well, at that point, I don't have to try and kill him. I can go back to just casting Preordain, seeing if I hit Time Vault or either key, and then use Tezzeret to go get the other half.
Right.
Or, I mean, there's a bunch of things I can do at that point. I mean, as long as he hasn't turned off my artifacts, if it's bad enough, I just go get Belcher out and belch him and see if I win.
Yep. Well, we got one match left tonight, and there's actually a fair amount on the line. Rachel has clinched a playoff spot, but if she can run the table tonight, if she can get all the way to 5-1, she gets a bye out of the first round of the playoffs. So this one win is the equivalent of surviving a playoff week for Rachel, if she can pull it off. Meanwhile, Brian, it is a very big match for her. Now, I mean, Brian Kelly, I think, would like to get a win with his Enchantress deck, like to show what it's capable of. He is no longer live for playoffs. I think best he can do is get to 3-3 here. But huge match for Rachel, and our players are ready. Let's go see what happens. All right, here we go. Brian Kelly has already mulled to 4. We want to watch that, Brian. You can hang out and wait for us to get here.
Mull to 4 against
Mana Crypt, Sphere, Tolarian Academy, and the Metallic Mimic for sauce.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go down, you might as well go down to Metallic Mimic.
Yeah, this one looks like it could be ugly.
I thought I would be the one mulliganing to 4 today.
You had a mull to 4. Didn't you win off a mull to 4? You definitely had a mull to 4 that played turn 1 Belcher. Yeah, you won that game. You won off a mull to 4 last match. That was the game.
Yeah, fair. You won. Okay, fair. Yeah.
You're like, Mox, Mana Vault, Belcher. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I got there. Yeah. And I knew that the Grim Monolith was on top because I scryed it there.
Yeah, we didn't know. I was like, come on, Manosaurus. Because that was another one where he had the Stony Silence ready. You needed it that turn or you were going to get Stony Silence right out.
Oh my goodness.
Right, if you miss with the Belcher, right, because you're belching into a library that has a land in it, so you're like 63% to or whatever to win. You had to win there because you were getting stonied.
Oh, that makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, it was an even better sweat for those of us who were watching with hands. All right, so Rachel with the workshop deck on the play, Sphere and a little beater. Brian cannot cast his tropical island. I think if Brian were in a real tournament, he might consider just scooping so his opponent doesn't know what he's on.
Yeah. Yeah, this would definitely be just draw back up to hand size and see what information you can gather.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
I mean, half the time I feel like doing that when they lead with the shops and they're from their opener, much less that on a mulligan to 4 with no extra lands. Shops and Bazaar, such fun in Vintage.
Yeah, Brian's seen enough.
Yeah.
2 creatures, no land. Let's just go to game 2.
All right, so
Moat is a big deal here.
Moat does seem like a big one.
It basically reduces Rachel's deck down to Walking Ballista. Or I guess she's got a hanger back too.
Yeah.
Hanger backs are in the sideboard. I presume she'll bring them in. But yeah, she's down to sack a hanger back or pile counters on a Ballista as her only way to beat Moat.
It's not that it's that hard to pile counters on a Ballista.
I mean, you have a deck with only 4 outs in it, though, is the problem. You have to find it. And your opponent has some permission and knows that that's your only victory condition. I don't know. I like Moat. I like where Moat is at in Vintage. I think there's decks that just can't beat it. And then there's other decks like Shops that can only barely beat it.
It's a big speed bump. I mean, it should give you some breathing room, but...
And if you're lucky enough to draw one of your 3 Enchantresses, you might even draw a card. Oh, my bad. 2 Enchantresses. He sideboarded 1 out.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, I don't think Rachel brought in the hanger back.
Okay.
So
I don't think she can beat a worship block at all, right? If he gets Argothian Enchantress worship.
No, I'm not thinking of a way. Mm-mm.
Right, this time Brian has a Force of Will. He's got Enchantress Time Walk. He's got some stuff.
Yeah, turn 1 Enchant. Oh, come on, turn 1 Enchantress.
I would Time Walk first. Get another card. Why not? You're saving Time Walk to pitch to Force of Will?
No, I'm saying saving Time Walk to get extra cards off my Enchantress later.
Sure. Energy Flux is even better when you get to draw a card.
That Energy Flux. If that was me looking at that hand, I'd be like, boy, it's a shame this is going to get discarded to the second Force of Will. You have to figure, though, if the first Force of Will just discards the other Force of Will, which Brian Kelly is probably wildly likely to do given his disdain for Force of Will, hopefully the Mind Break will get the second one.
I probably would pitch Force here, sitting on Mind Break for the second thing. I mean, it depends how she sequences her turn. Her turn is actually just Ancient Tomb Sphere. The end. Her hand's kind of mediocre. Does the workshop give her something else? No, it just gives her a workshop in play. Saves her 2 life.
She's just I don't need a sphere yet. You can
Let's get our beat down on.
Do your worst. And unfortunately, his answer is, well, my worst is just this Energy Flux.
Guess you play Energy Flux here? Do you don't want to play your Enchantress first? You don't get to draw the card.
Look, if you're not going to play the Enchantress before Time Walking, no, the Energy Flux is just coming down.
What does Mana Bloom do exactly? It's like X and a green. I don't even remember. Apparently, that's the line.
Then it must be a much different card than what I'm thinking of. That wouldn't surprise me either, but yeah, as we both race to figure out what in the world Mana Bloom is. Right, deckbox.org. Let's see.
You remove a counter for a mana. That's what I thought. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if it has no counters, return it. What? But he then didn't. I don't get it.
I don't know what's going on.
He played like Gemstone Diamond, is what he played.
This is no longer Magic how Richard Garfield intended.
Obviously, you forced a will through resistance. Come on, Brian.
I don't know. I think he's like, no, I got the extra mana. This is no problem.
His Mana Bloom mana does allow him to play an Energy Flux for 4 next turn. It's true.
Oh, this is trouble though.
All right.
Oh, I thought his finger was over the Energy Flux and I was going to lose my mind.
He pitched the trap. I guess at this point that makes sense. Trap's good against shops on turn 1, but if they go a couple of turns, they're not playing 3 spells on a turn again.
Yeah, for sure.
Just that turn 1 where it's like Foundries, Inspectors, and Moxen or whatever. All right. The 1 mana Pearl. I mean, I think this is 4 mana Energy Flux. No, it's 3 mana Enchantress.
Yeah.
He could have played the Enchantress followed by the Mana Bloom. That's the part I don't understand.
Now I understand why I am not a vintage champion.
You came really close, didn't you? Did you finish second one year?
Yeah, I got second. It was funny, shortly after that, I got together with Huey and we were talking about how good my opponent was in the finals. I'm like, no, I think he's actually really good at Magic. And I'm like, I was going to say the same thing to you. I think he's really good at Magic.
All right, chat, tell us if you know who it is, because this story is amazing. We'll see if chat knows the story. Your opponent is an unknown. It is a no name. Nobody knows this kid, right?
I mean, in the Midwest, we knew of him
10 years ago.
So, I mean, I knew him well enough that he and I were playing the same deck. Like,
okay.
David Williams had given both of us the same deck. We were playing the same 75 cards.
Got it. So then it turns out your opponent was?
Yeah, Owen Turnwald.
Owen Turn.
But, I mean, it's also just funny to me because, I mean, Huey and I, neither of us really get wildly impressed by many Magic players. That's probably the only player in history. Huey and I have both looked at each other and like, oh boy, they're really good at Magic.
Nice. Journey to Nowhere targeting Walking Ballista. It seems reasonable here. The Ballista's scary with the Ravager in terms of just raw damage, I guess. This definitely gets the Ballista gone. And those 2 Ancient Tombs actually take some of the sting out of a potential Energy Flux. So I think I like that.
Most of his mana would die to Energy Flux. So
that's the good point. I'm forgetting about Brian's own Moxen being his mana base. You're totally right. Yeah, now it would be in fact all of his mana. Not the Mana Bloom though. You still get the Mana Bloom mana.
Yeah, we locked that one up early.
Yeah, he needs to force a will the second Ballista, doesn't he?
Yeah. Say goodbye to Energy Flux.
Yeah, energy he's done. Cannot afford this. You have 2 artifacts to my 3. Not interested. What a weird game.
This is why I'm not a vintage champion. Like, I would have been on autopilot, like, oh, I'm playing against shops. This Energy Flux should be on the board. Whoa. I lost my land to Wasteland. I'd have been sitting here going, I don't know what went wrong. I played Energy Flux. I'm supposed to win now.
How about Energy Field? Much better than Energy Flux.
Energy Field Black Lotus is quite the...
Oh, yeah, no, that Black Lotus doesn't do much. It makes your energy field go away. I mean, maybe you get desperate enough.
It's still good with Moat. I mean, Moat is still a backbreaker, and it doesn't... The only thing it blows up on your side is the energy field, as opposed to the Flux that blew up everything.
It's fair. Karn doesn't do anything super relevant, right? I guess the card drawing is going to let her...
It gets you to a point where you get ballisted. Yeah.
And yeah, she's not interested in construct. She's interested in cards. That makes
sense. Yeah, I think this just grinds you out to the point of finding a way to ballista them out. I am sitting here reeling at the number of ways I would have thrown this game away from Brian's side. Like, I'm really not even sure why the mana bloom is in play, but once it's explained to me, it's probably genius.
He was worried about Sphere. He actually used it to play around Sphere. If he hadn't top decked the Pearl, it would have been crucial to.
But also
board,
now that his tropical got wastelanded, it's also his only source of green. But it's not that stressful because he just has a source of green.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched the Pro Tour finals over the weekend, but I felt similarly.
Absolutely.
Watching Autumn Burchett play that final, like Game 5 with the Pro Tour on the line, they've got the 1-drop and the Curious Obsession, and they just slow roll it. It's just like, nope, it's not time yet. I would have lost that game so many different times in the first 4 turns. And they set it up where, it's turn 4. Now I can commit the Curious Obsession, dive down to defend it, and negate the thing you're going to play in your main phase. Now we're off to the races, and I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. It was just super impressive the way they piloted.
It was extremely impressive. No, I loved watching the PT all weekend long. Like, I even really enjoyed the finals. I mean, I really like Reed. I really like LSV.
Yeah.
But going into the finals, I like that it was a non-native English speaker, which is underrepresented in the community, and a non-binary person, which wildly underrepresented in society in general. But even more so in the Magic playing community. I was really happy with the finals.
Agreed. And I think they outplayed Reed in the semi. And I think they played the final brilliantly. Like, I was super impressed by just the gameplay, too. Anyway, Brian Kelly is sitting on an energy field, which means Rachel can't actually damage him until she comes up with a way to put something into his graveyard. Now, she's got Wastelands. It's not like this energy field is permanent. Eventually, he's either going to have to play a land or discard one. So her Wastelands will get her out of this eventually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she has much else to say about it, though. Basically just Wastelands that she can use to bust up an energy field.
Right, so we're going to end up waiting to the point where the energy field gets switched out from mode.
Agreed. And then she's going to be all in on Walking Ballista.
Yeah.
I was thinking about your Belcher deck, if it had played an energy field, because like Brian had an energy field in a game against you that he didn't have the combo, so he wasn't valuing it very highly. But it's really hard for you to get energy field off the table. I think you have to like Windfall to make him discard. If you resolve a Windfall, that'll make the energy field go away because he'll discard his hand. There's not much.
Wow. I was thinking there was nothing. At least you came up with Windfall.
You were holding Windfall at the time that I could see the energy field, so I was thinking about it. But yeah, that might be literally the only out.
Great.
I mean, if he plays a creature, you can Belcher it, but I think it was only
not that Enchantress.
Yeah. No, I guess that's his only creature main, isn't it? Oh, he has the Dragon Lord. Does that also have hexproof?
I believe so.
I think so. The other piece of energy field, by the way he's got his deck constructed, for those of you who may not have seen this combo before, energy field with Rest in Peace is actually a hard lock. Like, if the Rest in Peace says your cards aren't going to the graveyard, your energy field never goes away. At that point, you're just, pretty close to immortal.
Well, that seems great. I like immortal.
Oh, Standstill. He can also, is the other way he can make his energy field go away. Sometimes he might trigger his own Standstill.
All right, so we've got rid of the Sphere.
So he cast a Nature's Claim on the Sphere, getting rid of his energy field, but he was ready to start playing lands. He was going to be risking losing the energy field anyway. He wanted the Sphere gone. This allows him to start playing Mana Bloom games to draw extra cards with the Enchantress. This also makes it easier for him to play a Moat. So, stopped a ton of damage, let him set up to pick his turn, where now he's ready for Moat on 12.
And Rachel already has 2 ballistas in the yard, so
Yeah, there's only 2 left.
it definitely feels like it's turning into one of those not going anywhere for a while. Yeah, I've been wildly excited about the state of Magic lately. Um, I think Arena is pretty fantastic. I think a lot of the initiatives are really interesting. Um, I think they got a lot of things right. More, I think they got more of it right than a lot of people would on their first try, and they seem really positive about iterating and fixing things that seem to stick out as not working.
Yeah, I think you do hear when people complain about some of the OP initiatives. I think there's a lot of WoW change is scary, and things aren't perfect. Like the previous iteration of their organized play offerings was sort of the result of 20 years of iteration.
Yeah.
So I like the way you explain it. That makes a lot of sense to me, actually. They've definitely demonstrated that they're willing to iterate. They don't think this is perfect, but as a like flag in the ground to iterate from, I'm with you. Super exciting.
I actually think I think a lot of the levers that they've put out there can be isolated. I mean, that's a hard thing when you're blazing a trail doing something other people haven't, is if there's so many moving pieces, you kind of have to guess as to which one it was that worked or didn't work. Like I pulled these 19 levers and this was the outcome. Okay, how do I make it better moving forward? And you have to associate outcomes with different levers. No, I've everything I've seen. It seems a really intelligent approach. I've been very excited for it. I've been really happy with all of the streaming. Like I have Twitch on quite a
Yes.
bit when I'm in the middle of the workday. That is, if I'm not just playing Arena through my workday.
are you making a run? Are you going to be making a run this week? Thursday's the deadline for those 8 invites to the first Mythic Invitational, right? It's like noon
I mean,
Thursday.
it depends on your definition of a run. So 2 days ago, I was 24th.
Nice.
Yesterday, I was back in the percentiles.
Oh, okay.
Today, I was back to like 400.
Sure.
But I mean, from 400 into the mid 2 digits is probably only a 5 or 6 0 run.
Right. Right. I mean, it's an elo with a bunch of people playing, so it's gonna. Well, it's not technically. I guess it's Glico, not elo. But this
Yeah.
worship lock is hard. I don't think Rachel can beat worship Argothian Enchantress, right? She
I mean, can
can
anyone?
deck him. I mean, he
That's
has
not
like
good.
fetched a couple of times. Like, hypothetically, I don't expect her to try to just see if Dragon Lord Dramoka is the bottom card or something. That's his actual win condition, right? Dragon Lord Dramoka. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Mochi was down to just Ballista.
hmm
Yeah, I think Argothian Enchantress Worship is. I think it's just the hard lock.
I don't even think between deck and sideboard there's anything.
I don't think so either. Yeah, and yeah, that was the Rachel pausing, studying the deck list, thinking, and nope, that'll do it.
Oh, make him show it to you. I mean, we all appreciate the fact that she just brought that to a finish.
That is the
But
right play. I mean, if it was a tabletop thing, I would have been like, "Show me your dragon." Like, show me that there's still a dragon in your deck, and I'll concede.
well, no, show me that there's a dragon with enough cards underneath it to kill me.
Right, right. Show me that it's not the bottom, 2 cards, whatever. He might still have the Nimble Obstructionist in there too. They can fly over. Although that, I
Oh,
guess, you can
fair.
shoot down.
Yeah.
All right, game 3. Last game of the night. Rachel trying to earn a bye in the playoffs. Brian trying to put up a 2-1 and show that this Enchantress deck can actually hang with real decks.
Please don't let me in with the real deck.
Well, you were
I
his
got
other
one.
win that I wasn't counting. Turn 1 Sphere, not a bad start. Brian doesn't have anything for the sphere on the spot, but he does have a Hercules and an Energy Flux. What he only has the one land. So he can use his land to pay for the Mox. The second sphere is going to make Hercules into a 4-mana spell, though. Energy Flux into a 5.
I don't even know if the other sphere is. Oh yeah, so they. So Rachel can turn off the pearl and
she can revoke
play
the pearl
sphere.
and play the sphere. Yikes!
That's a wrap.
Well, I mean, it's only 2 power. I guess there's Mistress Factory. Yeah, I'm not even sure if his library is stacked with all lands. Does he get there in time?
Well, I mean, because Rachel still gets draw steps, so I mean, yes.
No, but I mean, even on board, like Mishra plus Revoker is a 5-turn clock. He needs 4 lands before he can resolve a Hercules. I guess he needs to draw like
3
Black
more.
Lotus.
He needs 3 more lands. Yeah, or a land and a
fine.
Lotus.
But she gets draw steps.
Right.
Metallic Mimic! I'm
Wow.
here! Time to win the game. Such a glory hound. This card has been involved in actually winning the game, but it has had nothing to do with the fact that she's won, other than it's like, I'm here, I'm the one attacking for lethal. It was all me.
How dare you take the Mimic's name in vain? It is not just correlation that it's always on the board when the win comes home. I mean, you were talking. That is that deck's flag bearer.
All right, no land for Brian Kelly, and we are done. Wow, congratulations, Rachel Agnes. 3-0 sweep with Metallic Mimics. When it comes into play, the creature type she should name is just Glory Hound. That's all that card was all night. It was around for all the wins, claiming all the credit. But 3-0, and she gets the 5-1. She is going to be tied for first when the regular season ends. She's going to be tied with me, and we might get one more 5-1 next week, depending on how that next week goes. But nobody will be at 6-0, so she's tied for first. She has already now won the first round of the playoffs, and she gets to sit back and see what happens. Rest of the play. Go ahead.
So what are the records going into next week? Who is drawing live for still?
Rich Shea. So everyone playing next week is live. It's a pair of 2-1s and a pair of 1-2s. So nobody is dead as the night starts. The 1-2s obviously need to run the table. That's Matt Sperling and Saffron Olive. The 2-1s who need to put up a second 2-1 are Rich Shea and Steve Menendian. So I think the way you deal the wins and losses out, it's max 2. Like we could, in theory, have 0 of them qualify, because if they deal the wins out the wrong way, then all 4 of them end the season on 3-3.
Yeah.
But we'll get either one person through or 2 people through, and one of the 2-1s could potentially get all the way to 5-1. So 0, 1, or 2 people will get added to the playoffs next week.
So are you just setting it up with fluid pairings to get?
Honestly, so what I've been saying the whole season is I'm waiting to see how many people make it in order to determine that. You mean with the playoff format? Was that the question?
No, I mean literally just for next week's matchups.
Oh, so the match to always there's value in having a schedule set ahead of time just for the logistics of Athena's sanity. So I'll do my best to set them up early to preserve drama, but we're not.
Yeah, I'm very good at mortgaging other people's sanity.
Yeah, I don't think I want to go down that road. Meanwhile, the other people in the playoffs at this point, Cyrus Cormagill, Andreas Peterson, and the 2 Andys, Marketon and Probasco. So Rachel's now the 6th person through to the playoffs. Could be as many as 8, could be as few as 6. We'll find out next week, which should be a good show. Like, I would watch those 4 guys play Vintage even if they weren't all 4 live for playoffs, right? Saffron Olive seems to be enjoying his efforts to learn the format, and then you got 3 ringers.
For sure.
Matt's definitely capable of running off a 3-1, and like the Medendi and Shea rivalry goes back well over a decade at this point. Yeah. So anytime those 2 play, especially with something on the line, I want to be watching.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of. I mean, Saffron Olive can definitely hold his own as a player, but that is kind of a murderer's row to be up against. Those people have all proven time and again that they know how to play Vintage.
Yeah, week 1 was the other rough schedule. It's been a fun season. Tonight was certainly a blast to watch.
Certainly entertaining.
Yeah, look, if 1 week in 8 is just all wacky decks and we're just watching matchups no one has ever even thought about before, much less watched, that's a great way to spend a week or two. I wouldn't want every week to be all wacky decks. You want to sort of, like you said, see how they line up against the normal stuff. But having 1 or 2 weeks work this way, I think, is totally fine.
I think it's fine. I mean, and at least you had. I think it's better to have one grouping that has both of the 0-3s. Like, I don't think you want this lingering match going through each different week.
That's fair.
Like, I wasn't going to give up. I definitely wanted a deck that was competitive, but I was going to have fun while I was doing it. But as Rachel said when we were doing commentary together, she never imagined with Mimic and Traxos in her deck she was going to have the most mainstream deck in the grouping.
Right. Yeah. But she did, and she also ran the table. So that's the big storyline tonight. Congrats to her. Through to the semifinals. Thanks for hanging out, Bob.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always a great time.
Okay, see you again next season. See everybody else next week, hopefully. Come back, same time, same place. The final week of the regular season will round out the playoffs to see who brings what. I'm sure there'll be at least a little bit of wacky with Saffron Olive in the pool, but also going to have some nice stakes for everybody to play for. So we'll see you guys then.